for all you listeners that hear about crypto and have no idea what it is, like myself, how I felt was I'm sitting outside this dome. It's called the Crypto Dome, and everybody's inside. It just looks like there's money falling out of the ceiling, and everyone's grabbing all this money. And I'm like, how do I get in? Like, I feel like I'd like to get in, but I don't know anything about it. So what I do is I'll hold your hand, I'll walk you right to the VIP line, I'll open up the door, and I'll give you a peek. And I'll tell you, okay, look at all that's going on. See all these people? They're doing a bunch of shit you don't need to do.
This is my time.
Hi, I'm Kyle Stevenson, and you're listening to the Assets and Orthopedics podcast. In this forum, we hope to educate medical students, residents, physicians, and other high-income professionals on the power of investing, especially in real estate assets and syndications. We want to help providers gain financial intelligence with the hope of earning financial freedom. Please listen and learn so you can spend more time doing what you love with who you love. Enjoy the podcast. Hello and welcome to the Assets and Orthopedics podcast. This is your host, Kyle Stevenson. Today we want to welcome former dentist turned the crypto trainer that beginner investors deserve, Dr. Daniel Daniel. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks, Kyle. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, sir?
Good. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. Coming from Dominican Republic. We just heard you're on vacation, so it must be nice.
Yeah, it's not bad. We're on a 15 and a half weeks outside of Canada. As I got older, I developed an allergy to the winter. And ever since letting go of clinical practice a bunch of years ago and getting into crypto and whatever, I was even before crypto, it's allowed me some sort of lifestyle I never used to have before. So I am taking every bit of this I can and enjoying every bit of it. So thanks, man. And
that's amazing.
Ready to rock and roll today with you and your crew.
Yeah, we appreciate that. All right, so Dr. Daniel, I'm going to give a little introduction, and then I'll have you, fill us in on what we missed. How about that?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
So Dr. Daniel is the crypto trainer that entry-level investors deserve. With a keen focus on breaking down the barriers to entry, Dr. Daniel is committed to demystifying crypto investing and stopping the gatekeeping of knowledge that can make investing in crypto seem impossible to those who are beginners, including myself. Drawing on his extensive experience in teaching, training, and a deep understanding of cryptocurrency investment, Dr. Daniel has developed the Crypto Investing Program. He strips away the complexities and delivers straightforward, jargon-free explanations that allow beginner investors to start in crypto and set themselves up to excel. So, we just learned that you developed the Crypto Investing Program. We're going to dive deep into that. We're excited to hear about that. But Let's start. You're a dentist by trade. Let's start with just going back to dental school. Again, a lot of the audience is medical students, residents, physicians, dentists, periodontists, you name it. So tell us about your training, please.
So Kyle, I was a big nerd in school, in junior high and in high school. In high school, I just had the highest marks ever through that high school. However, as smart academically as I was, I had such a limited worldview. I mean, back then there was really, in my world, unfortunately, maybe 5-6 jobs after high school: dentist, doctor, lawyer, accountant, fireman, police, something like that. The short list. I did not have a good global perspective, growing up. It was very, very limited. So when I went through high school, huge science kid, super math geek, they basically were like, well, obviously you're going to go to university and do like engineering or something, right? And I actually wanted to stay in math, but back then I only knew one thing a math person could do would be math professor. I didn't know what actuarians were. I had no idea you could marry finance and economics and mathematics. So I went into engineering. I did engineering for a couple of years, and I was like, this is not fun, man. I do not like this. Bounce out of engineering, back to my true love, math. And then when I was sitting, we had a corner store way back then, sitting on a crate in the corner store in the middle of summer, halfway through my math degree, going, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I looked around. I said, I think dentists, I think they do okay. I don't see those guys working on Sundays. man, picked up the phone, got the prereqs, did them, got into dental school like that. Obviously, like most of the people listening here, we're all high academic achievers. Did the dental school thing in dental school. It was, very clear that they teach you enough not to hurt somebody really bad, but they don't really, give you some of the foundation stuff that you need, mostly in communication with clients. And on the other side of that, with the business aspect of dentistry. So, I got out of dentistry. I flew to a town called Calgary, Alberta, just north of Montana. It's in Canada. As plus which, I come from Halifax on the East Coast, and Halifax is in the winter, it's cold. And I felt like I was the only person in the world who didn't like cold, who flew from a cold city to an even colder city, because these cars are driving around with plugs hanging out of the front. I'm like, what are these plugs for? Well, they're engine block heaters. You got to plug your car in at night because it gets so cold, or it's not going to turn on in the morning. Welcome to Alberta. And I was like, damn, that probably wasn't the best. So anyways, I was out there, had some good fortune. I met a guy, he was years ahead of his time, Gordon Morris. He was doing full mouth cases and the type of dentistry I couldn't even understand back then. So I as soon as I met him, I started, hanging out with him, just mentored with him, did the most I could, sucked as much information as I could out of him, moved back to Halifax in 04. So I graduated in 99, 04, opened up a practice called Daniel Dentistry. And within probably 5 years, by 2009, I had abandoned all general dentistry. So most general dentists do, fillings, root canals, blah, 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 nothing. All I did was moved more into more bigger and comprehensive cases. You guys would call them aesthetics. I call them complete comprehensive cases. Most people who have an unattractive smile, the etiology behind it is generally functional. And understanding how to treat that dysfunction was key. I studied with some of the greatest minds in dentistry all through America, a lot of them, so my time was spent pursuing advanced education at a relentless pace. And my budget for advanced education probably averaged about $100,000 a year. That on top of coaching, I hired professional business coaches, one from 2004 to 2007 out of Kansas City, Daniel Midson Short, who worked with this Australian team. He was in California from 2007 to 2011. And then the last guy who was an entrepreneur coach who had nothing to do with dentistry from 2011 to 2020. And those guys were all in my corner. And we did some big things, by 2010, 11, 12, I was the number one dentist in the country. I was by far the most expensive dentist in Canada. I was one of the top dentists in North America. People flew and see me from all over North America, Europe, far away from Germany. I ran a really tight team right up until about 2014, which is me and probably about 6 team members. And we bring in the anesthesiologist, bring in an implant person, bring in a GP, and we did really big cases. People flying in, so I had to have things prepared. In 2014, I bought a piece of property in our city, opened up a 7,000 square foot facility, 5,000 square feet on the top floor was all clinical, 2,000 square feet on the bottom was education, and slowly started transitioning into more education stuff, building up the general practice. I had to learn a lot about marketing. People don't understand what it comes to the type of dentistry I did. Your clinical ability is only second to marketing. There's no point being able to do something if you can't market it. Yep. And I got deep into marketing. I did a lot of it myself, reverse engineered my own website. I did a bunch of really cool things. I did all these information video kits. So I had sometimes 5 to 7 touch points before they'd come in to see me. And even when they come in to see me, I do 5 to 7 consults, all free, before I'd even accept a client. So my minimum case was 25,000, tapped up to about 100,000. And by that time, people were doing virtual consults with me in 2012 to 2015 all over the world. So they would be, doing a big screen. We'd be doing a Zoom consult. They'd go to whatever place was close to them, take photographs, take radiographs, send them. I do 3 to 5 to 7 virtual consults before they flew in to see me. So I had enough information. I could set up whatever they needed done and get it done. And my facility had everything. So I could do it, all the imaging, everything. So when they came in, we'd bring people in and we would get massive amounts done in a very short amount of time. So I ran that really hard at the sacrifices. And listen, your listeners know what we sacrificed. I sacrificed a lot. all my free time, all my relationships. Every relationship I had went down the dumps because it was secondary to my work. It was secondary to my passion. My passion was, dentistry and doing the most highest level clinical I could do. But in order to be a successful clinical dentist, there's so much more other than the clinical. You have to get good at the marketing, the communication, the leading the team, you being supported by coaching, you coaching all your, it's just massive, right? So I had fortunately, some good people with me supporting me along the way. And, we rode that real hard. And I started transitioning out of clinical practice a few years after that, and then eventually sold everything and just got into coaching, consulting, education, and dentistry. Enjoyed a bit of freedom. And then from there started exploring some other opportunities, like meeting a relationship. My girlfriend, who's now my wife, doing normal people things like going out for breakfast, playing tennis in LA, stuff I've never done. Like, I've been working since I was 4 years old. So I found this new life, which was very cool. And this new life gave me space to try things like tennis, take swimming lessons, and crypto. Because my buddy who lives in Calgary, and this guy, great guy. He's an artist. He's a singer. He's a electrician. And he had been bugging me. We've been best friends since I lived in Calgary for over 20 years. Or I don't know, it's been 25 years now. And he was bugging me to get in crypto forever. I mean, he's yelling. He took 5 figures, turned into 6 figures, turned into 7. And he is yelling at me so loud. And like every other professional I know, I was like, la, 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 la. What is crypto? It's abstract. It's this word. It means nothing to me. I make money here and he's doing that. However, the entire time I'm practicing, I have some clients, and whether it's stocks or crypto or whatever, when I see people tell me, and they made X amount of money by clicking 2 buttons, and I have to look at what it takes me to produce money and how much time, energy, and effort, not just in the moment doing these clinical procedures that are like 3 hours, 5 hours, 7 hours long. And people are like, there's a lot of moving pieces, not just that part, but all the education and how my whole life has to be on point. I got to go to bed early. I got to be rested. All these things to make this happen. And somebody's over there, I don't know, having a drink, smoking a joint, pressing a few buttons and making money. Has always been that part of my brain is like, hey, they're definitely not smarter than you. Maybe, because I mean, we're all above average intelligence, and there's people are way smarter than us. I get it, but they're definitely not working harder than me because I am working hard. I go, maybe there's something out there. And in the world that I had created for myself, in the world of dentistry where I put myself in the middle and the whole operations revolved around me. Now, mind you, and this is a whole other conversation we don't have to have today. If I was to go back in time and do dentistry again, I would tell you a tale of 2 dentists, and they would look a lot. The tales would tell a different story about how I would engineer the dentistry in my practice and my career. But we can't change time. We're here. This is where we're at. I dipped my toes into crypto, long story short, and I was like, holy shit, this is pretty cool. I want to learn this. And, I want to learn it. So first thing I did, like dentistry, is I started searching for someone to teach me. Dentistry, it's really easy. If you're a dentist and you want to learn more about crowns, you go, you pay somebody, you do a weekend course, you come out, you do better crowns. Do you want to do better root canals? Same thing. Filling, same thing. Dentures, it's there. There's a program, you pay, you learn, you go on. No such thing in crypto. Nothing. So I said, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to learn. And I learned the hard way. 12-hour days, 14-hour days, 7, teen YouTube videos to figure out an answer for something that's so obvious. I got burned. I got scammed. I got, a lot of things happened along the journey to the point that when I finished it, I was like, somebody needs to teach this, man. This is horseshit. It should not be this difficult. It should be, here, pay me, I will show you, and go at it. But, there was no one doing it, so I decided to do it myself. First thing I said was, crypto for dentists. Complete disaster. Everybody thought I had a token for dentists, for dentistry. They had no idea what I was talking about. I was like, okay. Get back to that old marketing brain, stupid. And then I had to go back, reconfigure. I opened it up first to my network, then to some people, bigger network. And then I went commercial with it. And I have the only live comprehensive crypto education program in the world of its type. There's only one of me who does it. I do it, in small groups. I accept 2 to 6 people per group. And basically, I take people on the fast track. So basically on day 8, if people are with me, there's one session, 1 week later, another session on day 8, people are investing. people who know nothing about crypto other than the word crypto. It's insane. But it's not the first evolution. I've been at this for a while, and I've been really tweaking the program immensely. Like I had a 4-week program. I had different versions of it. What I'm doing now is absolutely the right way for busy professionals, and it gets people in the game fast. I support them. It's a 90-day program, so I'm with them the whole time and hold their hand through all the obstacles and allow people who are sitting on the outside. I call it the crypto dome. For all you listeners that hear about crypto and have no idea what it is, like myself, how I felt was I'm sitting outside this dome. It's called the crypto dome, and everybody's inside. It just looks like there's money falling out of the ceiling, and everyone's grabbing all this money. And I'm like, how do I get in? Like, I feel like I'd like to get in, but I don't know anything about it. So what I do is I'll hold your hand, I'll walk you right to the VIP line, I'll open up the door, and I'll give you a peek. And I'll tell you, okay, look at all that's going on. See all these people? They're doing a bunch of shit you don't need to do. I'm going to show you one way that fits perfectly for your lifestyle, right? Because if you ask 10 different people in crypto how to make money, you'll get 50 different answers. Mm-hmm. However, for us, we're busy professionals. We're not trading one career for another. We just want a smart vehicle to invest in. And then I show them that, and they're like, are you interested? They go, yeah. I'll go, okay, get out, let's talk. And then we talk, and it all makes sense, and you're a fit for me, because obviously I don't work with everybody. Very small groups, very personalized. I got to resonate. You got to be the right person. You got to have enough liquidity, blah, 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 blah. But if we get along, I'm going to bring you into the group, then I'm going to hold your hand, and you and a few other people, we're going to walk in, I'm going to open up the door, I'm going to close it, I'm going to take you to the right area, and I'm going to teach you everything you could possibly know about making money and not getting scammed and robbed, having an incredible amount of security, and I'm going to stay with you for 90 days until you absolutely got it. And if you want me around after, great. If not, that's fine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I have a couple questions on that. A couple statements, really. But I do love that your target audience is the exact same audience that we have with this podcast, right? Busy professionals, beginner investors, dentists, healthcare professionals, physicians, people seeking passive income, and entrepreneurs, right? That's all the same type of people that we're trying to go after here. So that's great. A couple of things that you mentioned that I love to hear, or I love to just get your quick thoughts. Yeah. Early on in your practice, you were doing well, and then you said you got a coach. You hired a coach, so you invested in yourself, which I think is important for young people to understand. Is you invested in yourself with a coach, somebody that's going to take you to the next level. Would you agree with that?
100%. All, if you think of a right coach, it doesn't matter what age you're at in life. So if people are like, some people can't get their mind wrapped around coaching, especially sometimes the financial cost of coaching. And I say to them, I said, Kyle, I'm going to ask you, how old are you now?
39.
Great. So if you got to go back and talk to your 21-year-old self, and I gave you 15 minutes alone in a room with you, what would it be worth to you?
A lot.
You get to go back in time. You get to go back to, you go to visit right now. 21-year-old you in a room, 15 minutes, go, hey.
What's the return on investment on that? Yeah, the return on investment is like 100 times.
It's infinite. A real coach who is, in line with the trajectory of your life, or the goal of your trajectory of your life, where you're pointing your life at, who is going to be able to bend time and help you get to your goals, who's there where you want to be. Their insight is invaluable. It's like you going back in time, talking to yourself. I would pay anything to go back to the time, talk to myself. It doesn't have to be 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, 1 year, 6 months, 3 months. If I could go back in 3 months, the little things I could change would be infinitely better in my world on so many scale. And the farther back you go, the bigger it is. So what I'm saying, the further, the more you're at the beginning of your journey, or the further ahead your coach is, the more insight it is. Yeah, I think coaching for you young people, and understanding it's just another budget. You've got your CE budget, right? Your continuing education budget. I'm constantly, and when I did my CE, Kyle, I didn't do any of the monkey CE, the whole like checking a box. I went after, I said, okay, I want to build. So I'm a dentist and I have a vision of who I want to be. Okay, I want to do, for instance, this type of dentistry. Great. In order to do this type of dentistry, what is it I need? Well, I need to be able to communicate. I need to understand occlusion. I need to understand aesthetics. Okay, these 3 blocks, who are the best people in the world that are doing them now and are teaching them. And those are the education I took. Every piece of education I took was to enable me to take a step in the direction I want to take my life into. I want to take my career into, I want to take my practice into. So I wasn't just taking CE for the sake of CE, not just buzzing around. It's like everything is a building block that takes me one step closer to where I want to go. And ultimately, the closer I got, the further off that became, because my image for myself, where I wanted to go, got more grand and more grand. I didn't just wake up and one day start doing 6-figure cases.
Right, exactly.
Hell no. I didn't wake up and one day have a communication system that people are comfortable, working with me at, an incredible amount of money. I mean, that stuff took years to develop, and I built the pieces along the way. So yeah, coaching, investing in yourself, all that stuff, it's in our careers as health professionals, that's the best money you can invest in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. No, and I love it. Compound interest, right, is the eighth wonder of the world. When I think I taking exactly what you said, and I liken it to compound interest, which most people think of compound interest in finances, but you can really say it with anything in life. It's that delayed gratification, right? Working out of the gym doesn't just happen overnight. Real estate investing doesn't just happen overnight. Being a good father to your kids, all these things take work, and it's that compound interest over time. All of a sudden you'll start feeling like, oh, this is actually working. The things that I'm doing is working. It's that exponential graph that we talk about.
Yeah, that delayed gratification. One of my coaches had a really cool saying. He always says, it's never going to happen as quick as you want it, but it's not going to take as long as you're afraid it's going to take. Right? It's never going to happen as quick as you want it, but it's not going to take as long as you're afraid it's going to take. And that's like with everything else, man. You got that extra 50 pounds on your waist and you're like, I need to get off. It's not going to come off as quick as you want it, but it's not gonna take as long as it take. And one of the things that I didn't do, Kyle, if I could interject, and one thing that I thought, in retrospect would have probably benefited me was, enjoying the journey. Mm-hmm. And I was on hell bent on purpose and on destination. And for me, the getting there at any cost was, and maybe that is the way it is for younger people. I don't know. And, who maybe, 25 years ago, if I was to hear this, I'd be like, shut up, old man. That's not going to get me anywhere. But for me, I wasn't really in love with the journey a lot of times. To me, it was all focused on the results. And I was one of those people that wanted results almost at any cost. And I paid for them sometimes dearly, right? And I think part of, daring to be great is, daring to take chances and learning as you go through. And that I think is also great. Another piece of coaching, which is fantastic. It's because when you have people who kind of see that, and they're helping along the way. It's not saying my coaches weren't, talking in my ear. I just didn't care. I was just relentless on pursuing results at any cost. And I don't know, was it worth it? Was it not worth it? Only I can answer that, right? And everybody has to make those decisions themselves.
Yep. No, that's a good point you make. Atomic Habits is a fantastic book by James Clear. He makes the comment, fall in love with the process, not the product, right?
Yeah.
When you get to the mountaintop, you're like, oh, what's next? I'm here. Now what do I do? Like there's another mountaintop you're going to have to get to, right? So another process, another journey that you're going to have to take, and you better enjoy it along the way.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? If you didn't like getting to the first one, when you realize there's more you want to get to, it's not enjoyable, right? It has to be enjoyable, which is hard to say. So one of the things I beat around a lot, and this is there's no answer to this, is you take that person who flew to LA, who's a waiter or waitress, wannabe actor, right? And they're auditioning. Now they're 15 years in. Right. And on one hand, you hear hey, is it time to give up? Like, should you just this probably isn't going to happen? Then there's the other hand, where you're like, oh, you're just one more audition away from your big break. People are drilling for oil and they're like, you see those memes, they're like 1 inch away from the oil and they decide to stop. It's like the question is, when do you stop and when do you keep going? And that's a very cool sort of for that person in LA who, from every 100 people that are pushing through, maybe one of them might get through, but 99 of them might go their entire lives and never get through. Mm-hmm. Right. So the only question, that they could ask themselves. It's the only question they can ask themselves, is, are they still in love with the journey?
Yep.
Are they still in love with the journey? And if they're still in love with the journey, then you know what? You keep doing it. And if you're not in love with the journey, then you tap out. That's where I'm at with that stuff, right? And I think that's why the journey is so important, because sometimes we don't get to where we want to get nearly as quickly as we want.
Definitely.
And it's like, yeah, you better love what it takes to get there, because sometimes you're going to be on that path for a while.
Yep. One more point I'm going to make, and then we'll get into crypto. But you're obviously a leader. You're obviously in great shape. And I was going to say to the young listeners, being in great shape shows a lot. It shows you're disciplined. It shows you're dedicated. It shows, a lot of things that are positive. And a lot of people would want to follow you because of that. I think most, good CEOs are in pretty darn good shape because they're disciplined. They, elevate their game at all levels. And so I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I like to have a lot of fun and stuff, but I also have, my priorities. To me, lifting is like breathing oxygen. It's my therapy. I know if I'm having whatever day I'm having, I get to the gym, I let it out, I come back, I'm a million times better. Eating, to me, I got late. It wasn't late till probably my mid 40s. So I got my mind wrapped around eating. Really kind of understood the cause and effect and the consequences of eating and how it affects me. And I got my diet cleaned up now, and it's quite incredible the difference it makes me. I talk about diet till your ears come off, and this isn't the time to talk about it. But for me, putting time in about my health and some basic understanding of how my body works, and mostly what type of training works for me, what type of diet works for me, it's all helped. Even with my sleep, it helps my entire life. So yeah, I appreciate that. I think commitment and dedication is, and this is another delayed gratification too, right? Like, you don't go to the gym and work out 20 hours over the weekend and the Monday morning show up with, a new body, right? Slow and steady chips. And our world tends towards chaos, Kyle, right? You can save money for a year and spend it in a weekend. You could clean your house for a week and in 2 days goes to shit. You can build your body for, a year and a half, and in 3 weeks undo and look like you've never worked out again by eating like shit and doing nothing. So for me, it's less about going to war or something, and it's more about just consistently good habits. And it doesn't take much to keep our world from going to chaos and keep it on the right track. But you got to stay consistent, and you got to stay consistent with the good habits, and they make a world of difference.
Absolutely.
Let's do the crypto thing, man. I'm pumped.
Let's do the crypto thing. So, basically, like on this, with this podcast, I like to talk to basically myself of 5 years ago or 10 years ago, really 5 years ago, not that long. But because I know there's so many other physicians out there thinking a lot of the same things I am. A lot of physicians will, we don't understand finance at all. We don't understand our money. We just know we're going to make some money in the future. We're okay paying a lot of taxes. We hire a financial advisor to take care of our money, but it's mostly in the stock market, right? So I like to educate on real estate investing. I think that's a good play. But I would let's learn a ton about crypto. So can we start later? I do want to ask about the whole cold wallet thing, because I'd love to understand that a little bit more. But how about beginner investors? Give us some practical tips or strategies that you recommend for individuals just starting out. Like, what research should we be doing? Bitcoin. There's 1,000 meme coins, or maybe 500,000. I don't even know.
Listen, let me just back up and give you guys a massive overview. Let's go huge macro. Okay, yeah. So let's just start off with crypto, with crypto and making money in crypto. Like I said earlier, if you ask 10 people, you get 50 different answers. There's many things you can do to make money in crypto. You hear of mining, you hear of staking, yield farming. Ignore everything. The two main things that people think about or do when they look to when they go to invest in crypto, make money in crypto, is crypto trading and crypto investing. And they are not the same thing. They get confused all day long. They are not the same thing. Okay, so crypto trading is like stock market day trading. So in the stock market, most of your clients are going to be familiar with the stock market. If people are day trading, these are people who are professionals who do what's called technical analysis and read charts. Generally, it takes 1 to 3 years to be proficient at a level where you can consistently make money reading charts and investing in the stock market. So you're not investing in the stock market, you're day trading. Day trading generally means you're going to buy something and you're going to long the market because the technical analysis, reading the chart, tells you it's going to move up, or you're going to short the market, which means the analysis tells you it's going to go down. So you're long stock, short stocks. It's very, very simple. Day traders get in and get out. They're usually, it's the same day. They're in, they're out, they're in, they're out. Now, in crypto, there's a lot of volatility. So people get into this thing called trading. It's the same thing. They're longing the market, they're shorting the market, except in crypto, they're allowed to apply leverage. And I mean insane leverage. 10x, 50x, 100x. Let me give you an example. So if you are longing Bitcoin, which means you're betting based on your reading of the chart, it's going to go up 1%. And you put $1,000 on it, but you have 100x leverage. If it goes up 1%, you've now made 100x. You've now made 100%. So you've now made $1,000. If it goes down 1%, you're wiped out. So in the world of going online in crypto, you're going to see 99% of all program things are making these massive promises. Crypto trading will send you signals. All you got to do is put your buy, your stop loss, your this, your that. You set it all up. Don't worry about anything. It's like, okay, I get it. Or we'll teach you how to do it. And you're going to make millions. You're going to make $20,000 a month. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. You're going to do this. Listen, I've seen. And now the AI bots are doing it for you. Now we have AI trading. If there was one that was consistently and predictably making money and an AI bot or whatever, I mean, it would be lined up to the end of the world. Right? I'm not saying there aren't great ones out there, but at the end of the day, my clients have a full-time job. So if you expect them to, number one, be able to get a trading signal on their phone and just take a break from surgery and run out to the computer and set up a trade, you're crazy. Number two, if you think they're going to learn how to read charts and do technical analysis in the nights and evenings on weekends, you're nuts. And even when you get a basic understanding, I spent 90 days learning it just to get my own basic understanding because I'm curious. It takes years to get proficient, much less able to be able to do it successfully, consistently. So there's crypto trading. Hey, if that's what you think you want, go for it. That's what a lot of people get sucked into. That's great. That aside, then there's crypto investing. Let's talk about crypto investing. Not only because of what I do, it's because of what makes sense. So, most of your clients, Kyle, are familiar with the stock market, yourself included.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So last night, let's suppose stock market crashed. You and I jump on phone. Kyle goes to me. He goes, "Hey, Daniel, let's buy some stuff. Stock market crash." I go, "Great. What are we going to buy?" I said, "You know what, Kyle? I'm an Apple guy. I got an iMac. I got a MacBook Pro. I got my iPhone. I'm going to buy the shit out of Apple. It just crashed. It's great. Also, Tesla. I mean, Elon Musk just teamed up Donald Trump. Best friends now. I believe it. It's down low. I'd buy Tesla. I'd buy Apple. I'd buy Google. I'd buy Nvidia. I'd buy Meta. I'd buy all those stocks. Make sense? And what would we do? We'd wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, market recovers, then we'd sell. And the difference between where we bought them, where we sold them, is our profit. Follow along?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Great. So, and it's pretty easy for your listeners who aren't overly familiar with stock market. If you're going to go on stock market and buy something, you want Apple, you look for the ticker. The ticker are these set of letters that represent the project on the stock market. AAPL is Apple. TSLA is Tesla, so on and so forth. Pretty easy, right? It is the exact same thing in crypto. The exact same thing in crypto. When you look at crypto, I don't want you to think BTC is Bitcoin, XRP is Ripple, LTC is Litecoin, ADA is, forget all that. Think of those tickers, and whether there's 3 letters, 5 letters, 10 letters, it doesn't really matter. In crypto, there's a whole bunch of letters. Think of those letters as tickers, the same as you would in the stock market. They're tickers that represent a project in crypto, the same as the tickers represent a project in the stock market. Same thing. Okay, perfect. We got that much. Now we're looking for a stock market crash to buy crypto. Well, in crypto, there's this really cool thing. Every 4 years or so, there's what's called a bull cycle, where the values go up, right? And a bull cycle can last anywhere from 6 to 18 months, and there's technical reasons why it happened. I can get into it, but we don't want to get too technical on our listeners. So for 6 to 18 months, the values of everything goes up. And then after 6 to 18 months, the values drop and we're in a bear cycle. And a bear cycle is kind of like a stock market crash where all the values are depressed. And that can last 2-3 years, right? And then there's some technical reasons why it's called a halving. Generally, the halving happens every 4 years. It happened this past April. Usually you get a bearish or 2-3 month pullback, and that signals the start of the bull run. So now we are just entering the bull run. So at the end of the bear season, right, it's kind of like the stock market crash. Everything is depressed in value, right? So then we want to buy as much as we can of the projects that are really good, like the Apples and the Teslas and the Nvidias and the Googles, right? And then we just want to wait. And then as the values go up, we want to sell. And the difference between where we bought and where we sold is a profit, except the difference is monumental. It's not like the stock market. It doesn't take 3 years, 5 years to recover. This all happens in a very short span of time. In fact, this bull run that's coming is likely to be the fastest. It's probably going to be a shorter bull run, what the experts tell us, and the most violent, which means the biggest bull run ever, due to a lot of reasons such as mass adoption, the spot ETFs. There's a bunch of macro reasons, Trump winning. This whole thing is coming together for things to go crack-a-lack. And I mean, we're talking, it's just starting, right? Like right now in the next 6 months. So again, just for your clients to understand, I am above average intelligence, but I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not a prodigy. I'm not a guru. What I do, though, is I consume an incredible amount of information relative to crypto. I mean, I consume a ton, and I follow the right people in the space. In crypto, there are probably 99% of everybody people listen to in crypto is completely full of shit and knows nothing. You have people throwing money based on what some teenager placed on TikTok. And they're throwing, I'm not talking money. I mean, they're throwing money and they're all surprised when they get rugged. They're like, oh, I can't believe I didn't make, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, where's your head at when you put 5 or 10 grand based on some kid who has no idea what they're talking about getting paid to influence? So 99% of them aren't good. 1% have integrity. 1% are actually been in the space long enough and actually have their finger on the beat of the pulse of crypto. I follow a lot of wise minds, and I take the consensus of everything they're telling everybody, and I summarize it, and then from there, I digest it and give it to my clients. So I am basically this inbox of like a tremendous amount of information. I take it, I digest it, and then I give it to my clients to help them make decisions. So if you are investing in the stock market, you'd want to know, number one, when did it crash? Well, crypto just finished crash, starting to pick up again. So we know it's about to do this. Okay, the second question, what the heck do I buy? How do I know what to buy? Like, like Kyle said, there's 100,000, 200,000. Who knows where to start? Well, what I've done for the people I've worked with is I've curated a list. It's called the golden list. Okay, and what I've done is, again, working with some great minds in the field, right? I've individually sourced out projects that have been vetted by independent influencers. So these are different people in the field who have consistently endorsed similar projects, even though these people aren't related, right? And come up with a list of projects. And it's not the only list. I mean, I've got 20 assets on this list, but there's lots that are going to do very well. You can't do everything. But what I've done is I curated a list of assets that are absolutely, they call them the gold list. These guys perform because they've been vetted. The projects, which means the team, the people behind the team, the fundamentals, everything's been vetted at the highest level and consistently found to be good. So I present the gold list to my clients. It's all done for you. It's in a spreadsheet. It's already in TradingView. Everything's done. Entries, targets, where to find them, how to find them, when to buy them, how to buy them. Everything is done, explained to you. And the reason I do that is because I want to give people someplace to start. And it's a cross section of the list, from large caps to medium caps, small caps to micro caps. So it depends on your risk tolerance. For your listeners who aren't savvy, the bigger the market cap, which means the more money inside of a project, generally the less risky it is, but the less returns you get. So some of these plays, you're only going to 2 or 3x your investment. So if you put whatever, you have 6 figures, you put 100 grand, you can look forward to making 200,000 or 300,000. Now, a lot of these plays, as you go down the market cap, they're going to have higher returns with more risk. Again, I tell everybody, this is a portfolio. You only want to be buying whatever you're comfortable managing. Please, 5 to 7 assets is manageable. Don't go more than 10. I have some of my, like one of my dermatologists, she does three assets. That's it. Every once in a while, she'll pick up fourth, but she's absolutely killing it. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's buying, and she's accumulating. We teach dollar cost averaging in. We're going to teach dollar cost averaging out. So basically what I do is I help people accumulate positions in crypto the proper way by buying dips, buying FUD, buying red candles, when to buy. I tell them how to buy, where to buy. But it's not just that. I also teach them how to get set up. See, the setup in cryptos, it's not
confusing.
It's not what's intuitive. It's counterintuitive. And in America, so I work with people in the States, Canada, Australia, UK are the 4 big ones. I also work with people, in all kinds of crazy countries. But those are my big ones. My American clients, oh my, what your regulations have done to allow you guys to have a smooth process and not be treated like criminals when you're moving your own money into your own account. It's insane. But very few people have done what I've done. So I have it all laid out, what to do, what exchange, how to move your own money. Listen, my program is done for you, but you are in full control of your assets at all time. For your listeners, do yourselves a favor. Okay, I am on YouTube. I am Dr. Daniel, something like I am Dr. Daniel. There's a dot in there. Who cares? Watch my How to Get Robbed in Crypto, because you are going to be approached by people who are going to ask you to give you their money to invest for you. People are going to say, no, don't give it to me. I have this platform you should use. Send it there and I'll manage it for all. The 80% of the people I talk to have been scammed, anywhere from about 20K to 400,000 and everything in between. And these scams are elaborate. They're very, very high level, and they're geared for people like you. They're geared at every newbie and every beginner. And make no mistake, don't ever think, oh, that's for stupid people. I'd never get scammed. You do not know how elaborate these ruses are. The number one rule in crypto, never give anybody your money. You give them your money, you'll never see it again. Do not invest without asking someone like me. Just stop and be like, does this make sense? Because if it's too good to be true, it's not true. It doesn't, but it happens all the time. I actually recorded 3 or 4 long form YouTube videos just scratching the surface of how people are getting scammed. And that's not even, I tell you, the calls I get, Kyle, it's just too much. And now, now obviously I've shifted. I don't take those calls. I'm not a token recovery expert. I'm empathetic, probably way more than I should be. I'll let people cry for 10 or 15 minutes because they borrowed from their family, their friends, their parents, their this. And the way they get them, I'm not getting on this podcast, but just for your listeners, please either do not do it or learn to do it yourself, or have someone like me or similar to me hold your hand. Other than that, don't mess around. Do not give your money to anybody. You'll never see it again. I promise you. I don't know about your friends and your family and blah, 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 blah. But the second that money leaves your hand, good luck if you ever see it again.
Yep. No, that's good advice. Hey, let's get to the basics. So I've had Bitcoin for probably, I don't know, since residency. Call it 8 years, 10 years, something like that. Who knows? Not a ton of it. But I just held, when it was like a hot topic, I bought some then and just let it ride, whatever. I never dove deep into it, right? But Coinbase is probably the most common place to trade, right? Would you agree with that?
To trade, invest. Sure, it's one of the most common CX. It's a great onboarding CEX, but for people who are going to be, you'll need another one, and there's lots of reasons why. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with Coinbase. Yep.
And then you should get a cold wallet. Is that correct? So that you're.
So for your listeners, okay, so what's happening now is Coinbase itself is what's called a centralized exchange. A centralized exchange is basically a crypto bank account. So let's just say we want to buy Tesla or Apple stock or Google stock. Generally, we have to have a bank account. What do you need a bank account? You give them your ID, you go fill out a bunch of forms, you open up a bank account. You put money in your bank account, then you use your bank account to buy a stock. Fairly easy. You go online, you connect your account to your investing, you buy whatever, easy. So in crypto, if you want to buy crypto, you got to open up what's called a crypto bank account. They call it a centralized exchange. It's the same thing as a bank. It's centralized. So you go to like Coinbase, for instance. Coinbase has a wallet. We're not talking about the wallet. Don't get confused. We're talking centralized exchanges. Then you want to open up an account. You're going to go through the whole thing. Show them your ID. Show them, I don't know, like a utility bill. Enter in all the thing. Jump through all the hoops. Boom, they open up your account. Now you have a centralized exchange, which is a crypto bank account. You're going to move money onto that account, such as Kyle's suggesting. When you have money on there, you might want to buy something like Bitcoin. And let's just say you're going to buy Bitcoin, just so we can talk a little about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, for my clients, they understand, listen, the target for Bitcoin conservatively during this upcoming bull, next 3 to 6, 9 months, whatever, is about 150 conservatively. You'll hear 200, 250,000, whatever. It's a 50% bump. I personally don't invest in Bitcoin. Let me explain why. People who invest in Bitcoin is like buying gold, right? Bitcoin is like digital gold. There's a finite number of it, finite limited number of it, right? And it's like if I was buying gold and I went and started buying gold coins and gold bars, I'd probably be hoarding it somewhere in a safe in my house or someplace, whatever. And I don't buy it today to sell it in March. If I'm buying gold, I'm keeping it, and it's going to be generational, probably passed on to my kids.
Exactly.
Bitcoin's the same way. If you're buying Bitcoin, if my clients are buying Bitcoin, generally it's going to be generational. They're buying it to accumulate it. They want to store it, and they're going to keep it for decades to come and pass it on. And they realize that there's value in that Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin can be infinitely more valuable down the road. Okay. People say, Daniel, why don't you buy it? Well, I do real estate. I have whatever, little people in my life. And what I want to do for my little people, I've already done through real estate. Okay. So what they're going to get in real estate is I'm so comfortable. So for me, that's more than enough. If I didn't have the real estate, I would have accumulated as much Bitcoin as I could. I'd accumulate it, and then I would never sell it. And that would be their version of generational wealth. We do real estate, but you can do digital. You do whatever you want. So the reason I'm explaining this is because when you're buying and you're storing your Bitcoin, right, and you're on a centralized exchange, the whole concept of crypto comes back to centralization versus decentralization. The whole point of Bitcoin that was created, it was a decentralized system. I'm just going to touch on this real quick for your listeners. Centralization means one person, one company, one corporation, one entity owns it, like the bank, like the government. There's this one person control. The problem with having all your money in a bank is that you don't really, it's your money. But if that bank goes away, your money goes with that bank. It's gone. There are countries where the banking system has collapsed, and the entire population of the country whose savings were stored on the bank went away with those banks and have nothing left, and they have no course to get their money back. That's centralization, right? That's the power of centralization. What happens with decentralization, right? Decentralization is a system like Bitcoin, where it doesn't matter if the banks go under or whatever. It's a transparent ledger. It's called the blockchain, where you can see your holdings and no one can ever change it. If Kyle has 10 Bitcoin and the world burnt down, Kyle still has the 10 Bitcoin. It's on the blockchain. It's agreed upon. It's transparent. He can see nobody can ever change it. If Kyle has $10 million in the bank, and whether the bank went under or the bank, for some reason, he shows up and goes, no, you don't. He's like, well, yeah, I do. And he checks his online, it's all gone. If for whatever reason that centralized system decided to switch, he has no recourse. There's no proof. They control everything. And that's a centralized system. Now, coming full back loop to what we're talking about. So with Kyle storing his Bitcoin on a centralized exchange, there's a saying in crypto, not your keys, not your keys, not your assets. In other words, he owns them to the extent that he has an account to centralized exchange. But if Coinbase goes away, if Coinbase has a meltdown, if Coinbase has a technical glitch, if Coinbase, the owners fight and then they do something sideways, everything goes. He loses those 10 Bitcoin.
Oh, wow.
So to hedge against that, there's something called a cold wallet. A cold wallet is an offline device that you can move your assets off of a centralized exchange into a cold wallet. Most cold wallets are unbreakable. So the two main ones are Ledger and Trezor. So if Kyle had 10 Bitcoin and he wanted to invest in a cold wallet. He'd invest in it, he'd get it set up, not hard to do. They have all the technical support in the world you can imagine. Then he'd send his Bitcoin off of Coinbase into his cold wallet, and he wouldn't care what happened to Coinbase. It goes up, it blows up, the owners fight, they steal, the whole thing collapses. It doesn't matter. He's got his Bitcoin stored on his cold wallet, and he can access that anywhere. He can send that to any exchange, to anybody he wants from his cold wallet. And this cold wallet is basically offline and can never be compromised. He can't be robbed, but he's got to take care of it. He's not, there's some recovery stuff there and some real sort of security protocol, even though, I cover that in my program. I don't, that's a whole other thing, but it's not hard. It's not hard. There's some security protocol around a cold wallet. It's not state secret. But yeah, so that's the reason you have a cold wallet, is to hedge against centralized exchanges, because in the past, in crypto, back in the heyday, some centralized exchanges have went down and taken people's monies with them, just like banks go down and take people's monies with them.
On that note, yeah. So Bitcoin, I'm glad you said that about the generational thing. I think that's important. I have a lot of like philosophical questions about Bitcoin, and I think a lot of people's mindset, it seems like, is the value of the U.S. dollar is going down. We know that. That's a fact. So people, I think, are buying Bitcoin to offset that. If the U.S. dollar goes to zero, then they got Bitcoin. They think that's going to be the new currency. So my question on it is, the people that sell their Bitcoin back to the U.S. dollar seems to be backwards, right? Counterintuitive to what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but again, everybody's in the game for a different reason, right? So people selling their Bitcoin, they're basically they're investing in Bitcoin. Their investment has matured to a point that they're happy, and then they sell. Or they have a bunch of Bitcoin and they want to buy some shit like a car or a house, whatever, and they sell to get the money. So there's a lot of reason people buy Bitcoin. If you look at Michael Saylor and the amount of Bitcoin him and his company's buying, it's insanity. They believe in Bitcoin. I mean, what's his stock? MFST, I think.
Yeah, MicroStrategy.
Yeah. And those guys, I mean, they've been buying, hundreds of millions of every week or two, right? So those guys have been accumulating like crazy. So for me, Bitcoin is never going to be a digital currency. It was originally created as a digital currency. However, the blockchain is dated. It's slow. You're not going to be buying your cup of coffee with Bitcoin. It's just like gold back in the whatever days, the Western days. You'd come in and, you have your sack of gold and you pay for stuff with your gold. What is gold today? It's not that. You're not taking a piece of gold to the grocery store, to the car dealership and paying with gold. But if you have gold, you store it because it has value and you're storing it. Same thing as Bitcoin. Bitcoin is gold, is digital gold. You're storing it. You're not going to be paying with anything for it. It's going to grow in value. Now, maybe sometime you might want to buy a house. You've got, whatever, 10, 20, $50 million worth of Bitcoin. You're like, yeah, I'm going to cash some in for 10 million and go buy something. Fantastic. No problem there, right? Just like if you had a safe full of gold, right? And your gold's worth, 15, 20 million and you need $1 million, you take your gold and you'd sell for $1 million, but you're not buying day-to-day stuff with it. There are better, more evolved blockchains that will allow coins to be used as currency. It won't be Bitcoin. Bitcoin is now gold. That was the initial concept, but things have evolved since then. Does that help?
That's good. Oh, yeah. No, that's good. Hey, a couple more questions. So Dogecoin, I bought some Dogecoin years ago, especially when Elon Musk brought it up on, something. He talked about it a lot. And I thought that was going to be something to it. And, I was buying stuff just like everybody else. Like, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Very novice. And then when him and Vivek Ramaswamy had this new thing, that Doge, you heard about that? Department of Efficiency. I was like, oh, does that mean Doge? Did they know something?
I think he just, because he has Doge, he thought that'd be a great acronym. That would just be, because Elon Musk is funny. I mean, whether you love him, you hate him, he's operating on a level that very few of us, I think, can resonate on. He's up there.
So are you investing in, there's meme coins out there? There's XRP, Ripple, XLM, Ethereum. Are you doing the big ones mostly, or are you?
Okay, so we'll cover that for you and your listeners. So okay, So when it comes to what I do and when it comes what me and my client do, they're a bit different. So for me, I'm not my client because I'm online 24/7 and this is my world, right? So I am dealing in my golden list personally. Everything I shill or I talk about, I'm heavily invested in. So my clients understand, like, I have a deep understanding of every project, but I work with a lot of projects outside of my list. So like I said, my clients, some have 3, some have 5, some have a very manageable amount where there's going at the end of the day. You take a look at 10 minutes or less a day. You check in at the end of your workday. You pop up your 3 or 5, 7 things you're following. You look at the charts, which is so easy. You're not doing any technical analysis. You're going, oh, did it go down? Is this below my entry? Okay, I'm going to buy some. Easy. No, it went up. Fantastic. I made money. I'll just chill. That's it. There's no real thinking, right? So for my clients, there's a very, very short list. And no, we focus in on projects that should give us better returns than most of the ones you mentioned. So a lot of the ones you mentioned are legacy coins. We don't care about legacy coins. Just because they did good in the past doesn't mean they're going to do good this bull run. And some of them will do good. So on our layer ones, so I break them up into narratives. Layer ones, real world assets, AI, and gaming. But don't worry about it for your clients. Don't worry about anything I'm saying. You don't have to understand this. I explain all in the program. Just understand that there's like something like AI and crypto is really, really hot because AI is hot in the world. It's hot in crypto. Gaming, Web3 gaming or tokenized gaming is very, very big. So what happens is during the bull with some of these narratives, people get excited about them. They go after it and all the assets in that narrative go up. And I'm not talking like I don't know how to put it in context. So on the AI plays went up 85x. So for your listeners, that means if you have $1,000, it's 85,000.
It's insane.
That's not all of them, right? But I focus in on things that are going to give good returns and much more conservative. I take a very risky space, and I'm looking at the most conservative within a risky space to assure people I work with, like most of the people I work with, a 3 or a 5 or a 7x in 3 to 6 months is like, think of the stock market. They're fighting to make
That's insane.
8 to 10% year after year. And we're like, oh, I had a bad 4 months. What do? I 3x'd. Man, that was rough. No, I'm serious. So we have our golden list. Then I have plays that I get outside of the golden list that I put in front of our clients, and that's for if you want to do it or not, right? And I have alpha coming at me all the time. I evaluate the alpha. If it's a decent play, I'll put it on. Don't do it. Do it up to you. DYOR, NFA. Do your own research on financial advice. None of my stuff is financial advice. Just because I give you the golden list, I'm not telling you to invest in it. I'm just saying these are things that I invest in that are likely to do extremely well, but I teach you how to assess them, and it's not hard. Kyle, when I peel back the curtains and you look at 5 or 10 or 15 of the plays my clients have been in for the past year, and you look at the X's they make, you're not going to understand. Every person that's ever invested in the stock market sits with me and goes like this. Show me that again. And then I said, no, I'm not going to show it. I'm going to give it to you. I give you it all. I go look at it. I'll give you 4 data points. I give you last summer, 23, October of 23, spring of 24, summer of 24, and then 4 weeks after Trump won. 5 data points. And you take a look at those 5 data points and your jaw will drop. Because it's not 1, it's not 2, it's not 5, it's not 10. Literally, I give you a list of projects that we've been in, 5 data points. And listen, it takes work. I did all the work. I did it for myself. I did all the work. And I was like, I teach very high-end meticulous dentistry, and I coach dentistry, and I am deep into educate, and I love it. And if I didn't love doing this, I wouldn't do it. But I love doing it, man. It's fun. And it's so meticulous. And again, it's never what you think is going to get you in crypto. It's what you don't see coming, just like in life. And crypto is very much like you think you got it all done. It's like, oh, it's so easy. Then you get this hiccup. You're like, oh, shit, what do I do now? And then it's like you're on this island by yourself, and there's nobody around. And the reason people benefit with me is because I skip all the trying to figure it out yourself. I skip every bit of, you trying to figure something out by yourself. Every bit of like, who do I call? What do I do? I have a full-time Discord. We run it full-time. You get all your questions answered. It's so amazing. Unique in the space, but it works. It works.
How long do people usually work with you?
Most people that start never stop. You know what I mean? They'll go right to the end of the bull run. But I got a couple people after 90 days are like, I do it myself. I'm like, high five to you, man. Go for it. Yeah. Yeah. But most people
Hey,
after 90 days opt in for the monthly coaching. Yeah.
yeah. Last question I want to ask before we get to these final 4 questions. They're pretty quick, but so in real estate investing, we talk to high income professionals about the tax benefits of it. Are there any tax benefits, or how does that work? Is it similar to the stock market when you get capital gains if you sell and make
Oh
that
yeah.
money?
Well, first of all, I'm Canadian, so all we do is pay taxes. Second of all, I don't know. I don't touch with the tax stuff. I've got a tax guy for real estate. I'll have a tax guy for my crypto. At the end of the day, all I know is, if he's put in front of me in the next 60 days or next 9 months, where can I make the most amount of money? Can I open up a franchise? Can I buy and sell something? Can I put in the stock market, put in crypto? I'm all in crypto because there's nowhere else I'm going to make nearly that much of a return in that short amount of time. And for your listeners, I'm not a crypto enthusiast. Probably after this bull run, I'll be 95 to 99% out of crypto, 95, 99% out. And I'll be using that money in the real world, double down on real estate and some other stuff I want to do. This isn't like, crypto is the world. It's like, yeah, it's just another investment. If you said, hey, there's something better that we can talk about that you can make this much money, I'll go look at that too. But right now, for me, it's a perfect timing, and that's where I'm at with crypto.
That's great. Good way to end it. No, that was awesome. Yeah, I think you'll get some people calling. I mean, it sounds like you're busy anyways, but man, I love hearing this stuff. This is great.
Yeah. Hopefully it helps. If people want to get a hold of me, just email me. I'm Canadian, Daniel at emc.ca. So my name at the letters emc.ca. I got to double check that. God, I'm tired here. It's late where I'm at, but yeah, Daniel at EMC.
We'll put it in the show notes too.
Yeah. Just hit me up on email. We'll have a chat and we'll get you sorted.
All right, let me give you these 4 questions real quick because this is going to be good for us. What book are you reading right now?
Chasing the Scream. So Chasing the Scream, I don't have it with me to tell you the author. There it is. Johan Hart or Harry? Johan. So JohanNHari. It's a very unique book. It talks about the war on drugs, and it's subtitled "The First and Last Days of the War on Drugs." And it's a very interesting book that goes back in time and explains on sort of like how our social climate, has become the way it has about drugs. Just one of my best friends read it, said, "You like it? I'm really, really, really liking it. It's very, very cool."
Fascinating.
Yeah, aside from that one, I wanted to say, but I would be lying to say if I'm read it, because I already read it. I'm not reading it right now. Is Malcolm Gladwell, Talking to Strangers. I really, really, really like that because it's very timely. It was timely when I read it a couple years ago, or a year and a half, 2 years ago. Very timely for some of our social situations in Canada and the States. I don't know if you read Malcolm Gladwell before, but he's an excellent author. He writes really well. Talking to Strangers really gave me a good perspective on some of the issues we face in our culture today, on how they came to be. And I thought that was a brilliant book.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's a very good author. I didn't realize he's Canadian.
Neither did I. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's go, Canada.
I think most people have heard of Outliers, Blink. Yeah, no, he has some really good ones. Wow.
Yeah. Talking to Strangers is really kick ass. Yeah. You know who else we have in Canada? Jordan Peterson. He's cool. I don't know if you ever hear Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah. There, we got top 5. Shoot, you guys, another question. Yeah.
What is your definition of wealth?
Wealth? Oh, wow. I didn't see that one coming. My definition of wealth.
We like to spring it on you.
In order to be wealthy, you should have financially. Wealth for me is tied to finances. Is a level of comfort. I guess is your level of comfort financially. That would be my definition of wealth. If you feel wealthy, then you should be comfortable financially. That would be my definition of wealth.
Yep, that's good. As you sit on the beach in Dominican Republic, right?
Yeah, man, you take one slice of my 50 years and this is it. But yeah, I'll take it, man. You know what? I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all the good things in my life. I always say, I don't have an easy life, but I have a good life. Nothing ever came easy, but it was worth every bit of it. And finally, I'm taking the time to enjoy it.
Good. Yeah, no, absolutely. You've deserved it, man. You've just from this conversation, we could tell that you've done a ton in your life. been very successful. So
Thank you.
all right, last question here. Proverbs 11:25 states that a generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. If you could or have made a big impact by giving back, what would you or have you focused on?
For me, when I was working, when I had my practice, we did everything we could for children. Every children's charity, every children's foundation. Even in my practice, I had a scholarship for people growing up in my neighborhood. I grew up in an underprivileged neighborhood in a very low socioeconomic neighborhood, and I offered scholarships. We had a foundation for scholarships for those children. So for me, I was focused on giving people who either were dealt in the beginning stage of life maybe a shitty hand, or maybe still didn't know what hand they had. So for me, it was always focusing on the youth and giving youth as much support as possible. I believe in supporting the youth because I think they have to be the future to a better tomorrow, right? That's what I always believed in.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, your future prime minister is in that group, right? So we need somebody good.
Yeah. Our future prime, and your future president is in that group too, right? But they might have to wait 90 years. In America, it seems like you only vote people 70 or older, but maybe 80. I don't know how old those guys are. I'm just kidding, man. Brother Kyle, you're an absolute gem and a pleasure to chat with. I super appreciate you having me on today. It's been fun. And I want your listeners, just anytime you need anything, reach out to me, just hit me up. I'll have my credentials there, and nothing hurts to have a conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. First crypto investor on the podcast. So we appreciate it. You're awesome. Great guy to talk to. And if nothing else, our listeners need to give you a call and just chat and learn something. So we appreciate you, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome, brother. Thanks, Kyle.
All right. Thank you.
This is my time. I'm on the rise. Can't hold me down.
Thank you for listening. If you found value in today's podcast, please leave a review so our community can continue to grow. If you would like to stay connected or receive a copy of your free investing ebook, please go to www.sharpinvestmentsllc.com, and that's sharp with a P as in professional. This is not financial or tax advice. Please consult with your financial advisor or CPA.